I hear this from so many of you, and I want to say, I understand it completely. You cook a meal, you eat what you can, and then you spend the next 3 days looking at the same container in the fridge, wondering whether you still want it. Tonight's video is for everyone who has ever felt that way. 10 small dinners. Every single one sized for exactly one person. Every single one designed to finish completely on the night you make it. No leftovers, no containers, no guilt. Let's get into it. Number 1. Single-serve garlic butter steak with roasted potatoes. There is something about a properly cooked steak that feels like a genuine occasion, and yet cooking a single steak for yourself, just for one, on an ordinary Tuesday evening, is one of the most satisfying and self-caring things you can do. This is not a complicated recipe. It is a small, beautiful steak cooked in garlic butter with a handful of roasted potatoes on the side, and it is sized perfectly for one person with nothing left over at the end of it. Here's what you need. 1 small steak, sirloin, ribeye, or whatever affordable cut you prefer. 3 or 4 small potatoes, halved. 2 cloves of garlic, minced. 2 tablespoons of butter. A teaspoon of fresh or dried rosemary or thyme. Salt, pepper, and a drizzle of olive oil for the potatoes. A squeeze of lemon to finish. Start with the potatoes, since they take longest. Toss your halved potatoes in olive oil, salt, pepper, and your herbs. Spread on a small baking sheet and roast at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes until golden and crispy on the outside and completely tender inside. About 10 minutes before the potatoes are done, cook your steak. Remove it from the fridge at least 15 minutes before cooking. A steak that goes straight from fridge to pan cooks unevenly. Pat it completely dry with kitchen paper. Season generously on both sides with salt and pepper. Heat a small pan over the highest heat you have until it is very hot. Add a drizzle of oil. Place the steak in the pan and cook for about 2 to 3 minutes on the first side without moving it. This is what creates the crust. Flip and cook for another 2 minutes. In the last minute of cooking, add your butter and garlic to the pan. As the butter foams, spoon it continuously over the steak to baste it. Remove the steak and let it rest for 3 minutes. Resting is not optional. It is what keeps all the juices inside the meat, rather than running out onto the plate the moment you cut it. Squeeze a small amount of lemon over the top. Serve with your roasted potatoes and spoon any remaining garlic butter from the pan over everything. Your tips. The resting period is the single most important step, and the one most people skip. 3 minutes feels like a long time when you're hungry, but it makes an enormous difference to the juiciness of the finished steak. The size of the steak for this recipe matters. Choose a cut that weighs around 150 to 180 grams. This is the correct single-serve portion that will leave you comfortably satisfied rather than uncomfortably full, and there will be genuinely nothing left over. Patting the steak completely dry before cooking is equally important. Moisture on the surface of the meat creates steam rather than a crust, and a crust is what you're looking for here. Budget-wise, a small affordable steak and a handful of potatoes makes one of the most satisfying and celebratory single-serve dinners on this entire list. And treating yourself to a proper steak dinner on a Tuesday costs far less than you might think when you're cooking for one. Number 2. 1-pan lemon herb salmon with green beans. A single salmon fillet with a handful of green beans is one of the most perfectly sized dinners for one person that exists. The portion is exactly right. Everything cooks in one pan simultaneously, and from start to finish it takes less than 20 minutes. This is the dinner for the evenings when you want something that feels genuinely light, fresh, and nourishing, without anything heavy sitting in the fridge afterward. Here's what you need. 1 salmon fillet, a generous handful of fresh or frozen green beans, 2 cloves of garlic, minced, the juice and zest of half a lemon, a tablespoon of butter, a teaspoon of dried or fresh dill or parsley, salt and pepper, a drizzle of olive oil. Heat olive oil in a pan over medium-high heat. Season your salmon with salt and pepper. Place it skin side down in the hot pan and cook for about 4 minutes without moving it. The skin will become crispy and release naturally from the pan when it's ready. Flip and cook for another 2 to 3 minutes on the other side. While the salmon cooks on the second side, push it gently to one side of the pan. Add your green beans to the empty side. Add your butter and garlic directly to the pan. As the butter melts, Stir the green beans through the garlic butter and cook for about 3 minutes until just tender. Add your lemon juice and zest over everything. Scatter your herbs on top. Taste and adjust seasoning. Serve directly from the pan onto a single plate. Your tips. Cooking the green beans in the same pan as the salmon means they absorb the garlic butter and lemon flavor from the fish. It is one of the small techniques that elevates this from a simple, healthy dinner into something that tastes genuinely considered and carefully made. The salmon skin is edible and delicious when crispy. If you've previously removed it before eating, try leaving it on this time. It crisps beautifully in the oil and adds a wonderful texture contrast to the soft flesh of the fish. A single salmon fillet is the perfect individual portion. There is nothing to store, nothing to reheat, and nothing left over at the end of the meal. Budget-wise, a single salmon fillet and a handful of green beans is one of the most affordable, complete single-serve dinners you can make, and the entire meal finishes on the night with nothing wasted. Number 3. Mini chicken and vegetable pot. This is a smaller, faster, and perfectly portioned version of a classic chicken and vegetable stew, made in a single small pot with exactly enough for one person and nothing more. It has all the warming, comforting qualities of a full-sized stew, but it is deliberately sized so that the pot is empty by the time you put your fork down, which is exactly the point of this video. Here's what you need. 1 large chicken thigh, boneless and skinless, cut into bite-sized pieces. 1 small carrot, diced. 1 small potato, diced. Half an onion, diced. 1 clove of garlic, minced. Half a cup of chicken broth. A teaspoon of dried thyme. A tablespoon of flour. Salt and pepper. A little oil for cooking. Season your chicken pieces with salt and pepper and dust lightly with flour. Heat oil in a small pot over medium-high heat. Add the chicken and brown on all sides for about 3 to 4 minutes. Remove and set aside. In the same pot, add your onion and carrot and cook for 3 minutes. Add your garlic and stir for 1 minute. Return the chicken to the pot. Add your potato, broth, and thyme. Season with salt and pepper. Stir everything together. Bring to a boil, then reduce heat, cover, and simmer for about 20 minutes until the chicken is tender, the potato is cooked through, and the broth has thickened slightly from the flour coating on the chicken. Taste and adjust seasoning. Serve directly from the pot into a single deep bowl. Your tips. The flour dusted onto the chicken before browning is what gives this mini stew its naturally thick, glossy consistency without needing any additional thickening agent. It dissolves into the broth during simmering and creates a sauce that clings to the chicken and vegetables beautifully. Using just 1 chicken thigh and a single small carrot and potato ensures the pot comes out perfectly portioned for 1 person. Resist the temptation to add more vegetables or a second piece of chicken, because the beauty of this recipe is precisely that it is calibrated to finish completely in 1 sitting. Budget-wise, 1 chicken thigh and a handful of root vegetables costs almost nothing and produces a single-serve stew that is genuinely warming, filling, and deeply satisfying. Number 4. Single-serve creamy mushroom risotto. Risotto has a reputation for being difficult and time-consuming, but a single-serve risotto is actually one of the most manageable and rewarding things you can make for yourself. Because you're making such a small amount, the stirring takes much less time than a full-sized batch, and the result is something luxuriously creamy, deeply flavored, and perfectly sized for 1 person with absolutely nothing left in the pot. Here's what you need. 1/3 of a cup of arborio rice. A generous handful of mushrooms, sliced. Any variety works. 1 small onion or 2 shallots, finely diced. 1 clove of garlic, minced. 1½ cups of warm chicken or vegetable broth. Keep this warm in a small saucepan on the side. A small glass of white wine or an extra splash of broth if you'd prefer. A tablespoon of butter. A small handful of grated Parmesan. Salt and pepper. A drizzle of olive oil. Heat your olive oil and half the butter in a small, heavy-based pot over medium heat. Add your onion and cook for about 3 minutes until softened. Add your garlic and stir for 1 minute. Add your arborio rice and stir for about 2 minutes until the grains look slightly translucent at the edges and are well coated in the butter and oil. Add your wine if using and stir until it is completely absorbed. Then begin adding your warm broth one small ladleful at a time, stirring after each addition, and waiting until each ladleful is absorbed before adding the next. This process takes about 18 to 20 minutes for a single serve amount, considerably faster than a full batch. While the risotto cooks, sauté your mushrooms separately in a little butter over high heat until deeply golden, then set aside to stir in at the end. When the rice is creamy and just tender, remove from heat. Stir in your remaining butter, grated Parmesan, and your sautéed mushrooms. Season generously with salt and pepper. The risotto should flow slowly and lazily when you shake the pot. This is the correct consistency, known in Italian cooking as all'onda, meaning wave-like. Serve immediately in a warm, wide bowl. Your tips. The warm broth is a non-negotiable detail. Adding cold broth to risotto drops the temperature of the rice and stops the cooking process momentarily, which disrupts the starch release that creates the creaminess. Always keep your broth warm on a separate burner. The final addition of butter off the heat, known as mantecatura, is what gives risotto its glossy, restaurant-quality finish. Do not skip this step even if it seems like a small detail. A single-serve risotto, made with 1/3 cup of arborio rice, finishes perfectly in one bowl with nothing left in the pot. Budget-wise, a small amount of arborio rice and a handful of mushrooms produces one of the most satisfying and genuinely luxurious-feeling single-serve dinners on this entire list, for very little cost. Number 5. 1 bowl prawn and garlic noodles. Prawns cook in literally 2 minutes, which makes them one of the most convenient proteins for single-serve cooking. There is no waiting, no long cooking time, and the portion is inherently easy to control. Combined with noodles and a simple garlic butter sauce, they produce a bowl that feels considerably more special than the effort involved, and a single-serve portion leaves nothing in the pan and nothing in the fridge. Here's what you need. Around 100 grams of frozen prawns, thawed. A single portion of noodles, egg noodles or any thin noodle you prefer. 3 cloves of garlic, minced. 2 tablespoons of butter. A tablespoon of soy sauce. A squeeze of lemon juice. A small handful of spring onion, sliced. Salt and pepper. A drizzle of oil. Cook your noodles according to the package instructions. Drain and set aside. Heat your oil and butter in a pan over medium-high heat. Add your garlic and cook for about 1 minute until fragrant and just golden. Add your thawed prawns in a single layer. Cook for about 1 minute on the first side until they just start to turn pink at the edges. Flip and cook for another 30 to 40 seconds. The moment they are fully pink and curled, they are done. Remove immediately or they will overcook. Add your soy sauce and lemon juice to the pan. Add your drained noodles and toss everything together in the garlic butter sauce for about 30 seconds. Transfer to a single bowl, top with spring onion. Your tips. Prawns are one of the most unforgiving proteins to overcook. They go from perfectly tender to tough and rubbery in under a minute, so watch them constantly and remove them the moment they are fully pink and curled. A single 100-gram portion of frozen prawns is the correct single-serve amount for this recipe. It is exactly enough to feel generous and satisfying without any excess remaining. Thaw frozen prawns quickly by placing them in a bowl of cold water for about 15 minutes rather than leaving them in the fridge overnight. Budget-wise, a small portion of frozen prawns and a single nest of noodles costs very little and produces a genuinely impressive single-serve dinner in under 15 minutes. Number 6. Single-serve lamb chop with mashed sweet potato. A single lamb chop is one of the most perfectly portioned cuts of meat that exists. It is sized naturally for one person, it cooks in about 6 minutes, and paired with a small bowl of mashed sweet potato, it produces a dinner that feels genuinely elegant and special for a completely manageable cost and effort. This is the dinner to make on the evenings when you want something that feels like a proper meal rather than something improvised. Here's what you need. 1 or 2 lamb chops depending on their size, 1 medium sweet potato, a tablespoon of butter, a clove of garlic, minced, a teaspoon of fresh or dried rosemary, salt, pepper, and a drizzle of olive oil, a squeeze of lemon to finish. Start with the sweet potato since it takes longest. Pierce it a few times and microwave on high for about 6 minutes until completely tender. Scoop the flesh into a small bowl, add butter, salt, and pepper, and mash until smooth. Keep warm. Season your lamb chops generously on both sides with salt, pepper, and rosemary. Heat a small pan over high heat with a drizzle of oil until very hot. Add the lamb chops and cook for about 3 minutes on the first side without moving them. Maybe, the less you have, the more you are required to boast. Flip and cook for another 2 to 3 minutes on the second side for medium. In the last minute of cooking, add your butter and garlic to the pan. As it foams, spoon it over the lamb continuously to baste. Remove and rest for 2 minutes. Squeeze lemon over the top. Serve alongside the mashed sweet potato and spoon any garlic butter from the pan over everything. Your tips. Lamb chops are naturally single-serve portions. 1 large chop or 2 smaller ones is exactly right for 1 person with nothing left over. The high heat at the beginning is what creates the beautiful caramelized crust on the outside of the lamb. Don't be tempted to use medium heat, which produces a gray, steamed result, rather than the golden, flavorful exterior you're looking for. Rosemary and lamb is one of the most classic and reliable flavor pairings in cooking. The herb cuts through the richness of the meat beautifully and makes the whole plate taste considerably more considered than a simple pan cook would suggest. Budget-wise, a single lamb chop and 1 sweet potato produces one of the most elegant and genuinely satisfying single-serve dinners on this entire list, at a cost that is very reasonable for the quality of the eating experience. Number 7. 1-pan pork tenderloin with roasted carrots. Pork tenderloin is one of the most underused cuts of meat in home cooking, and yet it is one of the leanest, most tender, and fastest cooking proteins available. A single thick slice of tenderloin cooked in a pan with roasted carrots produces a dinner that looks and tastes considerably more impressive than its cost and preparation time would suggest, and the portion is sized perfectly for one with nothing left over. Here's what you need. 1 thick slice of pork tenderloin, about 150 to 180 grams, 2 or 3 medium carrots, peeled and cut into batons, a tablespoon of honey, a tablespoon of butter, 2 cloves of garlic, minced, a teaspoon of dried thyme, salt, pepper, and olive oil. Toss your carrot batons in olive oil, salt, pepper, and thyme. Spread on a small baking sheet and roast at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes until tender and caramelized at the edges. About 10 minutes before the carrots are done, cook your pork. Season the tenderloin slice generously with salt and pepper. Heat a small pan over medium-high heat with a drizzle of oil. Add the pork and cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on the first side until golden. Flip and cook for another 3 minutes on the second side. Maybe, the less you have, the more you are required to boast. Add your butter and garlic to the pan in the last minute. As the butter foams, drizzle your honey over the pork and spoon the honey garlic butter over it continuously for about 1 minute. It will caramelize into a beautiful golden glaze. Remove and rest for 2 minutes. Serve alongside your roasted carrots and spoon any remaining honey garlic butter from the pan over everything. Your tips. Pork tenderloin is a very lean cut, and it can become dry if overcooked. A slight blush of pink remaining in the center is perfectly safe and produces the most tender, juicy result. The honey glaze in the last minute of cooking caramelizes very quickly, so watch it carefully. It should turn a deep golden color, but not burn. A single slice of tenderloin at 150 to 180 grams is the perfect single-serve portion that is filling without being excessive and produces nothing left over. Budget-wise, a single slice of pork tenderloin and a few carrots makes one of the most elegant-feeling single-serve dinners on this entire list for a very modest cost. Number 8. Single-serve baked cod with crushed peas. Cod is one of the most naturally single-serve friendly proteins available. A single fillet is exactly the right size for 1 portion. It bakes in about 12 minutes, and its delicate mild flavor pairs beautifully with a simple side of crushed peas with butter and mint. This is a dinner that is light, fresh, and completely satisfying without anything heavy or excessive, and the entire meal disappears completely in 1 sitting. Here's what you need. 1 cod fillet, fresh or frozen and fully thawed. 1 cup of frozen peas, a tablespoon of butter, a small handful of fresh or dried mint, the juice of half a lemon, 2 cloves of garlic, minced, salt, pepper, and olive oil. Season your cod fillet with salt, pepper, minced garlic, and a drizzle of olive oil. Place on a lined baking sheet and bake at 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes until it flakes easily when pressed gently with a fork. While the cod bakes, cook your frozen peas in a small saucepan of boiling salted water for about 3 minutes. Drain and return to the pot. Add your butter, mint, a squeeze of lemon juice, and a little salt and pepper. Use a fork or potato masher to roughly crush the peas. You want a rustic, textured result rather than a completely smooth puree. Some whole peas remaining is perfectly fine and adds a pleasant variety of texture. Serve the baked cod over or alongside the crushed peas. Squeeze any remaining lemon over the top. Your tips: roughly crushing rather than fully pureeing the peas is intentional. The contrast between the completely smooth, flaky cod and the textured, rustic peas creates a much more interesting eating experience than 2 uniformly smooth components would. Fresh mint stirred into the peas makes them taste remarkably bright and clean. It is a classic pairing that works beautifully with the mild sweetness of both the peas and the cod. A single cod fillet with 1 cup of frozen peas is a precisely calibrated single-serve dinner that will leave you comfortably satisfied with nothing remaining. Budget-wise, a single cod fillet and a cup of frozen peas is one of the most economical and genuinely complete single-serve dinners on this entire list. Number 9. 1 bowl chicken fried quinoa. This is a protein-rich, single-serve version of fried rice. Substituting quinoa for rice adds significant additional protein and nutrition while producing a very similar result in terms of texture, flavor, and satisfaction. A single chicken thigh and half a cup of cooked quinoa produces exactly the right amount for 1 person, and the whole bowl comes together in under 15 minutes. Here's what you need: 1 boneless chicken thigh, cut into small pieces, half a cup of cold cooked quinoa. Leftover quinoa from a previous meal is ideal. 2 eggs, 2 cloves of garlic, minced, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, a teaspoon of sesame oil, 2 spring onion stalks, sliced. A little oil for the pan. Heat oil in a pan over high heat. Add your chicken pieces and cook for about 5 minutes until golden and cooked through. Remove and set aside. In the same pan, add your cold quinoa and press into an even layer. Cook for about 1 minute without stirring to allow it to crisp slightly on the bottom. Stir and cook for another minute. Push the quinoa to one side. Add your garlic and cook for 30 seconds. Crack your eggs into the empty side of the pan and scramble quickly. As they begin to set, fold them through the quinoa, breaking into small pieces. Return the chicken to the pan. Add soy sauce and toss everything together. Add sesame oil off the heat. Top with spring onion. Transfer to a single bowl and serve immediately. Your tips: cold cooked quinoa is essential for this recipe for exactly the same reason cold rice is essential for fried rice. Freshly cooked quinoa has too much moisture and will steam rather than fry, producing a clumped, stodgy result rather than the slightly crispy, well-separated texture you want. If you don't have leftover quinoa, spread freshly cooked quinoa on a baking sheet and refrigerate for at least 30 minutes before using. 1 chicken thigh and half a cup of quinoa produces exactly the right single-serve amount. The bowl finishes completely and nothing goes to the fridge. Budget-wise, 1 chicken thigh and half a cup of quinoa with 2 eggs produces one of the most protein-rich and genuinely satisfying single-serve dinners on this entire list for almost no cost at all. Number 10. Single-serve tomato and mozzarella gnocchi. We're ending this list with something that feels genuinely indulgent. Soft, pillowy gnocchi in a quick tomato sauce with melted mozzarella on top. Fresh gnocchi cooks in about 2 minutes. The sauce comes together in 10, and a single-serve portion leaves the pan completely clean at the end of the meal. This is the dinner for the evenings when you want something that feels like proper Italian comfort food, without anything remaining in the pot to deal with afterward. Here's what you need. Around 150 grams of fresh gnocchi, available in the fresh pasta section of most supermarkets. Half a can of crushed tomatoes, Save the other half for another recipe. 1 clove of garlic, minced. A small ball of fresh mozzarella or a generous handful of grated mozzarella. A tablespoon of butter or olive oil. A pinch of dried basil, salt and pepper. Heat your butter or oil in a small pan over medium heat. Add your garlic and cook for 1 minute. Add your half can of crushed tomatoes, dried basil, salt, and pepper. Simmer for about 8 minutes until the sauce has thickened slightly. While the sauce simmers, cook your gnocchi according to the package instructions, usually 2 to 3 minutes in boiling salted water until they float to the surface. Drain the gnocchi and add directly to the tomato sauce. Toss gently to coat. Tear your fresh mozzarella over the top, or scatter the grated mozzarella. Cover the pan with a lid for about 1 minute to let the mozzarella melt. Serve immediately directly from the pan into a single warm bowl. Your tips. Fresh gnocchi is specifically better than dried for this recipe because it is already the correct single-serve portion in a 150-gram pack, and it cooks in 2 minutes rather than 10, making this one of the fastest dinners on this entire list from start to finish. The mozzarella melted under the lid creates pockets of molten cheese throughout the bowl. Serve it immediately before the cheese sets or cools. Half a can of tomatoes is exactly the right amount for a single-serve sauce. The other half keeps in the fridge for 2 to 3 days and can be used as the base for another sauce, a quick soup, or stirred into scrambled eggs. Budget-wise, a single pack of fresh gnocchi and half a can of tomatoes with a small amount of mozzarella makes one of the most satisfying and genuinely comforting single-serve dinners on this entire list at a very modest cost. Maybe, the less you have, the more you are required to boast. 10 dinners. Every single one sized for exactly one person. Every single one designed to finish completely on the night you make it. No leftovers waiting in the fridge. No containers to deal with. No guilt about food going to waste. You deserve a dinner that was made just for you, not a dinner that was made for 4 people and then divided up reluctantly. Every single recipe on this list was built with you in mind from the very first ingredient to the very last bite. Which one are you making first? Drop the number in the comments. We read every one. New recipes every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve a good dinner tonight. See you soon.